Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to call the King George Board of Supervisors together for the budget session. Mr. Sullins, could you lead us in an invocation?
Lord, I thank you for the folks down on the floor, but you're also willing to serve and be a part of what's going on. I pray that you'll start and guide us as we go through the processes, the things that we do will be for the good of our county.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Are there any amendments to the agenda? Seeing none, is there public comment from the Board of Supervisors? Comments be limited to 3 minutes per person. In order to afford everyone an opportunity to speak, please provide your full name, district when submitting your public comment, so it can be properly included in the public record. Anyone for public comment? Aaron Shaw?
James Shaw, James Madison District, columnist for the Northern Neck Sentinel. Tonight's hat is becoming a popular thing. Taxpayer, King George. Repeating what I said last meeting, the board is to be commended for a balanced budget that does not raise the tax rate. And word on the street is that staff has been instructed to avoid using up every last cent of their budgets for the current 23-24 fiscal year, the result of which will be a surplus that can be carried over into the next year. If this is true, one of you financial experts could explain, number one, where that's documented, and two, how that's kind of expected to work if that is a true thing. Keep up the good work. May God bless King George County. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else for public comment? Is there any public comment online?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Did anyone receive any written correspondence?
I've received one, but it's not related to the budget. Should I do this now or later at the regular meeting?
If it's the regular meeting.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay, this is from Mr. Adam Simonoff.
Is it for the budget?
No, it's for the regular meeting. I'm sorry.
Let's do it at the regular meeting.
Got it.
All righty. 5-08, King George County Board of Supervisors to approve the fiscal 2024-25 King George County budget. Mr. Razavi, the Senior Assistant of the Board of Supervisors, and Ms. Levita Cobb, Director of Finance and Procurement. What board report?
Mr. Chairman, basically we have assembled the budget according to the presentations that we made in the public hearing. And the adjustment, of course, deals with the increase that you all granted the school board, the $700,000, which was the only change that has taken place up until that point. And I think we are prepared to have you take action, and then we need to approve the tax rates so that we can get that passed on to the Commissioner of Revenue and the Treasurer to get the tax bills out in a prompt fashion. The past 2 years, they were not sent out promptly, and the auditors have pointed that out to me when I initially met with them. So we believe that we're going to meet the statutory requirement of adopting the budget by on or before May 15th. So I think Ms. Cobb has prepared a brief summary for you to go over. And then if you have any other questions, we'd be more than happy to.
Thank you. Scott?
Mr. Chair, members of the board, what you have in front of you is a printout of our revenue and our expenditures, and it just shows you how each fund is balanced. You'll see a total at the bottom that says $158,314,920. So if you have to take that amount, and then you have to back out the transfer to the school and the library, and that's what I show you here in this document here, which is another just quick spreadsheet. You'll see less transfer schools and then less transfer library. And that brings us back to our balanced budget of $132,593,960.
Could you enter that into the record, please?
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything else, Ms. Cobb?
No, sir, that is it.
Okay. Mr. Azabi, is this the time we would make amendments to the budget before we?
If you desire.
Okay. Is there any motions for any amendments for the FRA?
So I don't have a motion. I have a question though. On this form, where it says the total less than school is 65 million. In between the two marks, what is that amount?
I have to go back and pull my spreadsheet just to make sure I add up all the numbers, but normally it is just in a reconciliation. I just need to go and look and see which numbers it is, so I can get back to
Okay,
that.
I saw the 67, and then the total less than school. That's what I was trying to, with the 65 million represented.
Give me one.
Is it 2 million for the cafeteria fund?
That may be it,
Oh,
because
okay,
there's
that's so good.
2,126,000 for the cafeteria. That may be it. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Going back to any amendments?
Chair, I don't have it out in front of me. Is the FRA money still in the budget?
The FRA is at full funded at this time in the budget.
Ms. Cobb, you want to speak to, is there a reason for that?
Yes, it's still in the budget because I was instructed to leave it there until the new county administrator came on, and then we could probably take it out at that time or something like that.
I'd like to go ahead and make it a motion. I'd like to amend the motion from the budgeted amount to $1.
Second.
Properly second. Is there any discussion?
Yes, how much is budgeted in there right now?
It was 26,000 and change.
I believe that's right. I think it was 26,000.
Yeah.
It's 30.
Like that balance be moved to contingency fund or different?
I would be okay with that. I would have to amend the motion, and the rest would be moved to contingency as the amendment to the motion. Take over discussion.
We need to re-second, correct?
I make a motion to amend the 24-25 budget in the Fredericksburg Regional Alliance to $1 and the remaining fund balance into the contingency fund.
Second.
Yep. Have any discussion? Since Mr. Collins made the motion as the chair, I took over to call the vote. Any further discussion? Mr. Stroud?
Yeah, so you're removing the money for the Fredericksburg Regional Alliance way out of the budget?
Madam Chair,
Yes, go ahead.
moving it into contingency.
So let me just double check and ask. So when Mr. Smolnik comes on, it could always be added back.
Generally, the procedure is, the individual would come back to the board and ask to transfer whatever from contingencies to whatever account, that they would request.
So they could come back and make their case.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right, do we have any other further discussion? Okay, is this by vote because it's money, correct? By roll call. So I will call the vote. Mr. Sullins?
Aye.
Mr. Collins?
Aye.
Mr. Stroud?
Nay.
Mr. Davis?
Aye.
I vote aye. Motion carries.
All righty. The one amendment to the budget. Is there anything else? Okay. King George County Board of Supervisors to adopt the proposed tax rate for calendar year 2024 and set the PPTRA as presented. Board report. Okay, you want to go ahead and get the vote on the budget? I need a motion.
To adopt the budget as presented by Mr. Wasabi and Ms. As amended, correct.
So moved.
Second.
Properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, roll call. Mr. Sullins?
Aye.
Ms. Bender?
Aye.
Mr. Stroud?
Aye.
Mr. Davis?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Budget's now adopted. King George County Board of Supervisors adopt proposed tax rate for calendar year 2024 and set the PPTRA as presented. Back to you, Mr. Wasabi.
Basically, Mr. Chairman, the tax rates in support of this budget are the current tax rates through the current budget. And there was basically a feeling with the significant fund balance, it would be irrational to ask the citizens of the county to pay more taxes because the locality is not in the business of providing a savings account. And if you do the calculation, which I presented during the budget presentation, you multiply the 15% by the general fund, not the total amount as some individuals have done that obviously don't have a clear understanding of that procedure. And also, I might say that we've used less of the fund balance than has been used in the last 4 years.
Okay. Go ahead, Ms. Bender.
I'll make a motion.
Go ahead.
Raise your right. I make a motion to adopt the proposed tax rates for calendar year 2024 and set the PPTRA as presented.
Second.
Properly second. Is there any discussion?
Yes, sir. So I'm good with the rates. Are we going to do anything to go back and reassess home and property values in the near future so that next time around, without changing the rates, we can still lower the taxes?
Mr. Wasabi, can you respond to that? Mr. Sullins, you all directed us to, I don't know if it was the last board meeting or the one prior, to have the reassessment RFP prepared. And it's my understanding that that is being worked on. And so once we get that together, we'll let you, each of you take a peek at it before we actually put it out on the street. And then as we discussed, I mean, there's multiple ways to do it, but my suggestion always been to include several Board of Supervisors members, the Commissioner of Revenue, and perhaps a citizen member from your budget committee to conduct the interviews with the prospective applicant.
Great. Thank you. I appreciate that. I had a question earlier in the week about that, and I wanted to get a quick update, so thank you.
there any other discussion?
So thank you, sir, for addressing the 15% issue, because I know there had been some discussion about that and some challenges to how that was computed. And also your comment about allowing the board members to take a look at that, I guess, contract before it goes out to bid, or the proposal, then I appreciate that too, because that hadn't been done in the past. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Ms. Cobb.
Any other discussion or comments? All those in favor by roll call, Mr. Sullins?
Aye.
Ms. Bender?
Aye.
Mr. Stroud?
Aye.
Mr. Davis?
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion, sir.
Go ahead, sir.
I'd like to make a motion that we extend the request for proposal to contract personnel services for King George County. And I would ask that Mr. Norm Razavi prepare the proposal for approval for the board in the near future.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Properly seconded, discussion.
Yes, Mr. Chair. I had asked about this earlier. This is just exploring to see what our options are, correct?
Yes, ma'am. See what's available.
I just want the public to know it's not a hard and definitive, it's just exploring options because some of our members have asked about it. Thank you.
I made sure I understood what you just said. You just said it's not our intent to do it.
No, I did not say that. I said we're exploring other options.
Thank you, ma'am.
Is there any other comments, discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Davis?
Said aye.
Okay. Mr. Parliamentarian, did I get a second on that? I don't recall.
Yes.
Yes, okay. Okay. Can we just go through it one more time just to make sure we don't?
Second.
Properly second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Thank you. Secondary public comment to address meeting business only. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes per person in order to afford everyone an opportunity to speak. Please provide your full name and district when submitting your public comment so that it can be properly included in the public record. Is there anyone for public comment? Secondary? Seeing none, is there anybody online at this time, Mr. Dines?
No, Mr. Chairman.
And there's nobody else. All right, I'll close that. Board of Supervisor adjournment. Is there a motion?
Yes, sir.
Just
I make a motion that we adjourn until Tuesday, May 7th at 5:30 PM in the Robert H. Combs boardroom.
Mr. Chairman, before then, can I just make a small comment?
yes, sir.
I just want to say, as a member of the Citizen Budget Advisory Committee, this has been, and I've served on the previous Budget Advisory Committee, this has been the strongest budget I've ever seen. Record investment in our schools, no new tax increases. This is something that I think other counties will look at and see that King George is leading the way in the Commonwealth in regards to how we govern our citizens and how our citizens lead this board and not the other way around. And I just want to say, as a member of this committee, it's been an honor to serve, and that you all have done a very good job, and so has Mr. Razavi and Ms. Cobb. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Stroud, did you have something to?
Yes, sir, I did. So first, thank you, Mr. Stats, for stating that. Okay, those comments are important. They're important to the people that worked on the budget. But on 3 May, I attended a meeting with our senior advisor, Mr. Savi, and Ms. Cobb, and the county treasurer, Mr. Randy Jones, where I learned that we had $35 million still in a checking account. In one of our meetings a couple months ago that was called out, and I asked some questions at that point about it. And what I wanted to point out was our previous director of finance did not have a schedule for paying bills. And if you imagine when bills were due in your home and multiply it times 100, and you didn't know if you were going to have money in the account to pay it or when they were due, the, I don't know, possible pandemonium, but really the confusion and stuff that took place or things didn't happen. And we were wondering why every board meeting we're approving for things to be paid or why things weren't placed on order or if there were money to pay for it and things were just a muck. And now, thanks to Mr. Savi and Ms. Cobb, we have a schedule. They have a schedule for paying bills now. They've got an order to doing business. They've got a process in place. And they have really brought a lot of just common sense, but we would think common sense. But for years, some of our board members endured this for years. We as citizens have endured it for years, but people didn't know. I didn't know. And it was really a mess. And so we have been criticized for a lot of things, but really whenever your house isn't in order and you're trying to figure it out, well, that's why. That's just part of the reason why. And that's just kind of the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot of things that are being worked that we're working on. And whenever we interface with the public and they ask questions and I wonder things, well, you know I wondered a lot of things used to whenever I sat out there. And now that I'm seeing it, and whenever you see some of those things that weren't in place, it really brings a lot of sense, a lot of understanding to why it was a mess. And right now, these two people sitting in front of us work really hard and have just done an amazing job. And this budget process and what you guys have done is thanks to y'all. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Is there anything else? Is there a second to the adjournment motion?
Second.
Properly second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. We're now adjourned till 5:30.